about why anointing is not enough to multiply. Now let me say first up, anointing is crucial. Anointing is critical. You need anointing if you want to multiply. But anointing by itself will not get the job done. Think about that. Because when you have anointing, it's like an atomic explosion, and it can cause a lot of things to happen. If you have anointing in worship, you probably inspire a lot of people to want to get involved in the worship ministry. So a lot of things begin to happen. But if you want it to be an ongoing thing that continues beyond just yourself, then you need more than just anointing. You need some kind of systems. Have you ever thought about this? I come from Australia, and as a nation, we produce one of the highest world-class athletes per capita. In proportion to our population, we produce one of the highest amount of top-level athletes. Like swimming, for example, we're well known for, we're famous for swimming. And I'm very proud that I come from the state of Queensland. Queensland produced a very high proportion of world-class swimmers. Our Olympic team, at least a quarter, if not a third of our top swimmers come from Queensland. That's the state I'm in. Why is this? Did it just come about because when they win the Olympic gold medals, people get so inspired, the young children say, wow, I want to be a champion swimmer. And then we raise all this. Well, yes and no. The reason why we have so many swimming champions, reason number one, we probably have more swimming pools per capita than the rest of Australia. The weather helps. No, I'm not joking, it's almost every third house, and once upon a time, this is maybe 10, 20 years, would have a swimming pool. And not only that, people send their children to swim. Most of the parents, most of the families, they will send their children to swim. All my 3 children went to swimming school. And they expect the children to swim. Toddlers, they have classes for little toddlers to learn to swim. They even have classes for little babies, so they throw a baby into the pool. Yeah, 6 months, 6 weeks. Some of you were shocked, right? Especially you come from Asian homes, cold, whatever. No, it's warmly heated and everything. They put the baby in the pool. Hey, I'm back in mommy's womb. And they swing. When they go to primary school, almost every primary school, they will have a subject called swimming. So all my children that swam at least 6 years, 7 years of swimming in primary school, or something close to that. And when they do swimming, then the parents are encouraged, well, you want your kids to improve, send them to swimming school. So they teach them how to swim properly, all the different strokes. And then when they're swimming there, the instructors say, hey, I think this kid is a good swimmer. Have you ever considered get some special training? Oh, special training, yeah, go for special training. So they do special training to really train the kid. And then you got selectors to look, and they have competitions from young kids to older kids to all kinds of levels of competition. And when they compete, they get excited about swimming, they get excited about winning, they get excited about improving their times, and then there are selectors that look, this kid is good. Why don't you invite him to my school, my special school? I produced 3 Olympic champions. Would you like to come to my school? And that's what happens. And what is this? There's a system. There's a whole big system, in my state anyway, where the kids are just being selected, groom. And that's how all the top champions. Right now, 2 of the fastest women's swimmers in Australia come from the school that my children go to. And they have had at least half a dozen Olympic champions from that school. The school doesn't specialize in swimming. It is not famous in its subject for swimming, but they just produce champions. The whole environment is just there. So that's a system. And so think about this. When we may be anointed, but how many of you realize in our leadership and our ministry, giftedness is so hard to replicate? It's very hard to pass on the giftedness. Often those who are less gifted, they need more training. They need more experience. They need more instruction. And when you have a system, that can help them gain those things. so that they can rise up beyond what will be naturally gifted, to rise above them, to go to much higher levels, because there is some kind of a system. When you look in the Old Testament, do you realize even in the Old Testament, there are systems? The Old Testament tells us that there are schools of prophets. In 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 5, it explains here, the company of the prophets at Jericho went up to Elisha, and they were telling him, do you know that your master is going to be taken away by the Lord? And the word there, the company of prophets, or in other versions is translated the sons of the prophets, it means the disciples. In other words, they have this school that were training prophets. Now, these guys were probably gifted in some way prophetically, but yet they went through some kind of systematic training to increase their effectiveness. And so, when you have the gifted people, they can start something powerful, but often they need systems to help them, especially if we want to multiply.